Ellen DeGeneres had interviewed countless guests over her decades-long career, but nothing could have prepared her for the moment when an 82-year-old retired teacher looked directly at her with confusion and asked, "Excuse me, dear, but who are you and where am I?" What started as a heartwarming segment about educators making a difference became an unexpected lesson in grace, dignity, and the fragility of human memory that would challenge everything Ellen thought she knew about live television. It was a Thursday afternoon at the Ellen studios, and the atmosphere was particularly warm as they prepared for a special segment honoring retired educators. Ellen, wearing a soft pink blazer over cream-colored pants, was excited about featuring Dorothy Williams, an 82-year-old former elementary school principal who had dedicated 45 years of her life to education and had been nominated by her former students for recognition on the show. Dorothy had taught at Roosevelt Elementary School in Sacramento for 4 decades before becoming principal for her final 5 years. Her nomination letter, written by a group of her former students who were now successful adults, described her as a woman who had changed hundreds of lives through her unwavering belief in every child's potential. The segment was meant to be a celebration of her legacy and a surprise reunion with some of her former students. "Our next guest is someone very special," Ellen announced to the enthusiastic studio audience. Dorothy Williams dedicated 45 years of her life to education, touching the lives of countless children. She retired 5 years ago, but her impact continues to ripple through her community. Let's welcome the amazing Dorothy Williams. The audience erupted in warm applause as Dorothy walked onto the stage with the careful steps of someone managing arthritis but maintaining dignity. She was a petite woman with silver hair styled in neat waves, wearing a royal blue dress with a small pearl brooch that suggested this was a special occasion outfit. Her granddaughter Linda had driven her from Sacramento for this taping, and Dorothy had been excited about the honor for weeks. Ellen embraced Dorothy warmly, noting how the older woman's face lit up with a genuine smile. "Dorothy, welcome to the show. How are you feeling?" "Oh, I'm just thrilled to be here," Dorothy replied, her voice carrying the clear diction of someone who had spent decades addressing classrooms. "This is such an honor. Though I have to admit, I'm a bit nervous." "Well, you look beautiful, and we're so happy to have you," Ellen said, guiding Dorothy to the guest chair. "So tell us about your teaching career. 45 years is incredible." Dorothy's face glowed with pride as she began sharing stories about her classroom. "Oh, teaching was my calling. I loved every minute of it. Even the challenging days were worth it when you saw a child's face light up because they finally understood something." For the first 10 minutes of the interview, everything proceeded normally. Dorothy shared charming anecdotes about her students, her philosophy of education, and the changes she had witnessed over her long career. Ellen was genuinely enjoying the conversation, finding Dorothy's stories both entertaining and touching. "I have to ask," Ellen said, "what's the secret to connecting with children? You clearly had a gift for it." Dorothy paused for a moment, her expression growing slightly distant. "Well, I think it's important to—" She stopped mid-sentence, looking around the studio with a confused expression. Ellen noticed the change immediately. Dorothy's bright, engaged demeanor had shifted to something uncertain and slightly alarmed. "Dorothy, are you okay?" Dorothy looked at Ellen with growing confusion, as if seeing her for the first time. "I'm sorry, dear, but could you remind me, where exactly are we?" Ellen felt a chill run down her spine. The question wasn't asked with the casual confusion of someone who had forgotten a detail, but with the genuine bewilderment of someone who had lost their bearings entirely. "We're at my television studio, Dorothy," Ellen said gently, trying to keep her voice calm and reassuring. "You're on the Ellen DeGeneres show, remember? You came here to be honored for your teaching career." Dorothy stared at Ellen blankly, then looked around the studio with increasing anxiety. "Television studio? I don't remember coming to any television studio." Her voice was rising slightly with confusion and concern. "Who are you?" Ellen's heart sank as she realized what was happening. Dorothy was experiencing some form of memory loss or confusion, possibly related to dementia or Alzheimer's disease. The woman who had been so articulate and present just moments before now seemed lost and frightened. "I'm Ellen," she said softly, moving her chair closer to Dorothy's. "You're safe here, Dorothy. Everything is okay." But Dorothy was becoming more agitated. "I don't know who Ellen is. I don't know where I am. I need to go home. Where's my car? I need to get home to make dinner for Harold." She started to stand up, looking around frantically. Ellen gently placed her hand on Dorothy's arm. "Dorothy, it's okay. You don't need to go anywhere right now. You're safe." The studio audience was watching this unfold with a mixture of concern and confusion. Many of them were exchanging worried glances, unsure whether this was part of the show or a genuine emergency. Ellen's producers were frantically communicating through their headsets, trying to decide whether to cut to commercial. "Who's Harold, Dorothy?" Ellen asked, hoping to connect with something familiar that might calm her. "Harold is my husband," Dorothy said, her agitation increasing. "He'll be expecting his dinner. I always have dinner ready when he gets home from work." "What time is it? Have I missed dinner?" Ellen's heart broke a little more. Based on Dorothy's nomination materials, she knew that Harold had passed away 10 years ago, but Dorothy seemed to believe he was still alive and waiting for her at home. "Dorothy, let's just sit here for a moment," Ellen said, maintaining her gentle tone. "You don't need to worry about dinner right now. Harold will understand." But Dorothy was becoming increasingly distressed. "I don't understand what's happening. Why can't I remember how I got here? Why are all these people staring at me?" She gestured toward the audience, her confusion turning to fear. Ellen made a quick decision. She signaled to her producers and then addressed the audience directly. "Folks, we're going to take a quick break. Dorothy is feeling a little overwhelmed, and we want to make sure she's comfortable." As the show cut to commercial, Ellen immediately knelt beside Dorothy's chair. "Dorothy, I need you to look at me. You're experiencing some confusion right now, but you're safe. Is there someone I can call for you? Someone who could come be with you?" "I want Linda," Dorothy said suddenly, her voice becoming small and frightened. "I want my Linda." "Who is Linda, Dorothy?" She's my granddaughter. She takes care of me now. She brought me somewhere today, but I can't remember where or why." Ellen felt a wave of relief. "Dorothy, Linda is here. She drove you here today. Would you like me to call her?" Dorothy nodded eagerly, tears forming in her eyes. "Yes, please. I want Linda." Ellen signaled to her producers, who quickly located Linda in the green room area where family members waited during tapings. Within minutes, Linda, a woman in her 40s with kind eyes and a worried expression, was hurrying onto the stage. "Grandma Dorothy," Linda said softly, approaching carefully. "I'm here." Dorothy's face transformed with recognition and relief. "Linda, oh thank goodness. I was so confused. I don't know where we are or how we got here." Linda knelt beside her grandmother's chair and took her hands. "We're at a television studio, Grandma. Remember? You were invited to be on Ellen's show because you're being honored for your teaching. You were so excited about it this morning." Dorothy looked between Linda and Ellen with dawning recognition. "Ellen, the lady on television?" "That's right, Grandma," Linda said gently. "You've been watching her show for years. You always said she seemed like such a kind person." Ellen felt tears forming in her own eyes as she watched this tender interaction. "Dorothy, you were telling me about your teaching career. You were sharing some beautiful stories about your students." Dorothy's expression cleared slightly, as if pieces were slowly falling back into place. "My students? Yes. I taught for many years. Did I? Was I doing okay? Was I making sense?" "You were wonderful," Ellen assured her. "You were sharing such beautiful memories about your time as a teacher." Linda looked at Ellen with gratitude and explained quietly, "Grandma has been experiencing some memory issues lately. Usually she's fine during the day, but sometimes she gets confused when she's in unfamiliar places or situations." Ellen nodded with understanding. "Would Dorothy be more comfortable if you stayed here with her? We could continue the interview if she's feeling up to it, or we could just spend some time talking." Dorothy looked around the studio again, but now with Linda's presence, she seemed calmer and more oriented. "I remember now. We came here because of my teaching. People wanted to honor my teaching." "That's exactly right," Ellen said. "Dorothy, would you like to continue talking about your career? Only if you're comfortable. Dorothy straightened up slightly, her natural dignity reasserting itself. I think I'd like that, but could Linda stay with me? Of course, Ellen said, gesturing for Linda to pull up a chair beside her grandmother. When they returned from the extended commercial break, Ellen addressed the audience with her characteristic honesty and warmth. We're back with Dorothy Williams, and we're also joined by her granddaughter Linda. Dorothy experienced a little confusion during our interview, which can happen to any of us, and we wanted to make sure she felt comfortable and supported. She turned to Dorothy. Dorothy, how are you feeling now? Much better, thank you, Dorothy said, her voice steadier. I'm sorry if I caused any trouble. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me these days. You didn't cause any trouble at all, Ellen assured her. Dorothy, would you like to continue sharing some stories about your teaching? I was really enjoying hearing about your students. With Linda's reassuring presence beside her, Dorothy was able to continue the interview. She shared touching stories about students who had overcome challenges, the satisfaction of watching children discover their potential, and the letters she still received from former students who credited her with changing their lives. Dorothy, what would you want young teachers today to know? Ellen asked. Dorothy's eyes lit up with passion. That every child matters, every single one. Some days you might not see the impact you're having, but trust me, you are making a difference. Children remember kindness long after they forget the lessons. Ellen felt moved by Dorothy's wisdom and resilience. Despite her confusion earlier, her core values and insights remained unchanged. That's beautiful advice. Dorothy, Linda interjected gently. Would you like to tell Ellen about the letters? Dorothy's face brightened. Oh yes, Linda, do you have them with you? Linda reached into her purse and pulled out a small bundle of letters tied with a ribbon. Grandma keeps these letters from former students. She's received them over the years, and she reads them whenever she's having a difficult day. Ellen was touched by this detail. Could you share one with us? Dorothy carefully untied the ribbon and selected a letter. This one is from Maria. I taught her in 3rd grade, and she just graduated from medical school. She began reading. Dear Mrs. Williams, I wanted you to know that I'm starting my residency in pediatrics next month. I chose to work with children because of the way you made me feel seen and valued when I was 8 years old. You taught me that I could be anything I wanted to be. Thank you for believing in me before I believed in myself. The studio was completely silent as Dorothy read, and Ellen felt tears streaming down her face. Dorothy, that's incredible. Do you remember Maria? I remember all my children, Dorothy said with quiet pride. Some faces are fuzzy now, but I remember the light in their eyes when they learned something new. Ellen turned to the audience. You know, what we've witnessed here today is actually really important. Dorothy experienced some confusion, which happens to many people as they age, but what remained constant was her love for her students and her dedication to education. That's the real Dorothy Williams. She looked back at Dorothy. Dorothy, I want you to know that everything you shared with us today, every story about your students, every piece of advice, that's your legacy. That's what matters. Dorothy reached over and patted Ellen's hand. Thank you for being so kind when I was confused. You reminded me of some of my students' parents, patient and understanding. Ellen announced that the show would be establishing the Dorothy Williams Excellence in Education Fund to support teachers and provide resources for students. Dorothy, your impact extends far beyond your classroom. Today, you taught all of us about grace, under pressure, and the enduring power of a life dedicated to helping others. As the segment concluded, Ellen walked Dorothy and Linda off the stage personally, making sure Dorothy felt steady and oriented. Thank you for trusting us with your story today, both the beautiful parts and the challenging moment. Thank you for treating me with dignity. Dorothy replied. Even when my mind wasn't working quite right, you made me feel valuable. The episode aired with Dorothy's and Linda's full permission, along with information about resources for families dealing with memory loss and dementia. The response was overwhelmingly positive, with viewers praising Ellen's handling of the situation and sharing their own experiences with aging parents and grandparents. 6 months later, Linda sent Ellen an update letter. Dorothy's condition had progressed, but she still had moments of clarity where she remembered being on television and feeling respected and honored. She talks about how kind you were, Linda wrote. In her confused moments, she still remembers feeling safe with you. Ellen kept that letter in her desk drawer as a reminder that sometimes the most important thing television can do is model compassion and dignity when life doesn't go according to script. Because sometimes the most powerful moments happen when we choose kindness over convenience, understanding over entertainment, and human dignity over perfect television. And sometimes the greatest lesson comes not from someone's greatest strength, but from how we respond to their most vulnerable moment.